Reaper 1. The young Marine's glass slipped from his hand and shattered on the bar floor. The whole diner went silent. Every head turned toward the man sitting quietly in the corner booth, a single dad, his little girl drawing on a napkin beside him. He didn't look like much. Worn jacket, weathered hands, a calm smile that carried too many stories. But to that Marine, and to anyone who'd ever served, that call sign was legend. The camera closes in on the Marine's stunned face, then pans to the man's steady eyes, the ones that had seen more than most could ever imagine. And before we go deeper into his story, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and stay till the end, because this one will hit you right in the heart. It was a rainy Friday evening at the Eagle's Rest Diner, a small town spot where veterans often came for cheap coffee and quiet company. The man, Jack Reynolds, sat with his daughter, Lily. She was 7, bright, full of laughter, the reason he'd traded his rifle for a wrench and his dog tags for a diner apron. Jack had served in the Marines for 15 years. His call sign, Reaper 1, was whispered across bases like a ghost story. The sniper who never missed. The soldier who saved his entire platoon in Kandahar. But Jack never talked about that. He didn't need to. That night, a group of young Marines walked in, fresh out of boot camp, full of energy and pride. They joked, laughed, and carried that same fire Jack once had. One of them, Corporal Tyler Hayes, noticed Jack's jacket, an old Marine Corps emblem barely holding onto the sleeve. He grinned, walked over, and said, "Hey sir, you a vet?" Jack nodded, polite and calm. "Once upon a time." Tyler smiled. "Semper Fi. What unit?" Jack hesitated for a moment, then replied softly, "First Recon." The words froze Tyler. His eyes widened. "Wait, First Recon. As in the Reaper Division. My uncle told me stories about them." Jack smiled faintly. "Yeah, I knew a few of those guys." Tyler, trying to connect, pressed on. "You ever hear of someone called Reaper 1? They said he was a legend, could hit a target from 2 miles out. My uncle said he once covered an entire team during a failed extraction in Helmand. That guy was unreal." Jack chuckled, looking down at his coffee. "Yeah, I've heard of him. Man." Tyler laughed, shaking his head. "If I ever met that dude, I'd buy him a lifetime of drinks." Guy's the reason first joined the Corps. Lily looked up from her drawing and smiled innocently. "Daddy, that's your name, right? Reaper 1. The entire diner fell silent. Tyler's glass slipped from his hand and shattered, coffee spilling everywhere. He turned, eyes wide as disbelief painted his face. "Wait, you're Reaper 1. Jack sighed softly. "Used to be." The Marines stared, stunned. Here sat the man they'd all heard stories about, not in some fancy ceremony, not on TV, but quietly having dinner with his little girl. Tyler saluted instinctively. "Sir, it's an honor." Jack waved him off gently. "No need for that, son. Those days are behind me." But that night wasn't done teaching lessons. Moments later, an older vet sitting nearby, half drunk and bitter, slammed his hand on the counter. "Legend, huh? You think you're better than the rest of us, Reaper?" He sneered. "What did it cost you to earn that name?" Jack looked at him with calm, steady eyes. "Too much," he said quietly. "It cost me brothers I'll never see again, and a part of myself I can't get back." The drunk man froze. The diner went still again. Jack placed his hand gently on Lily's shoulder. "But I got this," he added softly, smiling at her. "And that's enough for me." The young Marines watched, silent and moved. Tyler stepped closer. "Sir, why'd you never tell anyone who you were? Why live like this? You could be working at a base, training snipers, writing books." Jack smiled faintly. "Because war's not a story you tell for fame, son. It's one you live, and then spend your life learning to forget." The words hit hard. Even the drunk vet lowered his eyes. The waitress, who had overheard everything, whispered, "He comes here every Friday. Always leaves a tip for the homeless vet fund." Tyler, eyes misty, finally said, "Sir, you may have put your rifle down, but you're still leading, just in a different way." Jack smiled, stood up, and reached for his wallet. "Leadership isn't about orders, kid. It's about example. Remember that." He placed some cash on the table, then looked down at Lily. "Ready, kiddo?" She nodded. "Let's go home, Daddy." As they walked toward the door, Tyler called out, "Reaper 1, sir, thank you for everything." Jack turned back, his silhouette framed by the glow of the diner lights and the falling rain outside. Semper Fi, Marine. And with that, he disappeared into the night, not as a legend, not as Reaper One, but as a father who'd finally found peace. Camera slowly zooms on Tyler's face as he whispers to his squadmate's smiley face, I met Reaper One, and he's the kind of man I want to become. Final narrator voiceover, emotional tone smiley face. Some heroes don't wear medals. Some just raise their kids right, carry their scars quietly, and teach by the way they live. Remember their stories. Honor their silence. And never forget, peace is the hardest battle a soldier ever fights.